The Modern Acre, agriculture for the next generation farm and business. The Modern Acre is a community of students, farmers, professionals, and entrepreneurs passionate about building their ag businesses through modern-day innovation and technology. If you are in the ag industry and looking for strategies for your business and inspiration from industry leaders and disruptors, you're in the right place. Stay tuned and join the community of ag innovators at themodernacre.co.
Hey guys, you're listening to episode 29 of The Modern Acre. Yeah, so this week we talked to Harry Ferdon of SWIIM Systems, which is an innovative startup that's focused on sustainable water.
Yeah, it's a really cool company. They're doing some really interesting stuff in the water space. They've won a lot of recognition and awards recently and kind of up-and-coming companies in the ag tech space. So it was really interesting to talk to Harry and how he got involved with them, what attracted him to the company, and where they're headed.
Yeah, so for some context, SWIIM System is a full-service turnkey solution that produces a very accurate on-farm water budget. So it really helps farmers analyze how much water they're using and then make decisions based on that data. SWIIM includes a groundbreaking blend of multi-patented technology capabilities growers and irrigation managers use to achieve new levels of efficient water use analysis and conservation. So like Tim said, they're an exciting startup doing some interesting things. So we talked to Harry, who's been involved for some time there at SWIIM and has a lot of interesting insight to share with us. Yeah,
with that, let's get into it.
Hey, Harry. Thanks for being on the show. Good to have you here.
Hey, thanks, guys. It's a pleasure to be here.
Yeah, we're really looking forward to talking to you and learning more about SWIIM System. But kind of just to start us off, tell us a little bit about who you are and what you're up to right now.
Yeah, my name's Harry Ferdon, and I am the Senior Regional Sales Manager for SWIIM System for about the last year and a half.
And yeah, maybe you can quickly share what SWIIM System is all about.
Sure. So what SWIIM System does is we do complete water balance analytics for our clients. And what that involves is a total full service approach where we'll install and maintain the technology required for that water balance, including flow meters, level sensors, weather stations, soil moisture sensors, etc., and compile that together using our patented methodology for providing a full water balance with the daily accounting for water use for the farmers that we work with.
That's awesome. It's a really cool platform. You guys are getting a lot of recognition in the industry, especially in kind of the ag tech innovation space. So that's really cool to see. So kind of before we dig into the business, can you give us a little bit about your background and where you grew up and how you got into agriculture?
Sure. Well, believe it or not, I probably couldn't have started my life any more out of agriculture. I actually grew up in the city of San Francisco. Both my parents were realtors there. And love the city, really proud to be from there. But I think even from a young age, I kind of realized that the country lifestyle appealed to me a little bit better. I think how I got into agriculture specifically came through school. I originally studied economics at UC Santa Barbara and was able to take a lot of courses in resource and environmental economics and really became interested first in the water resource issues. And the more I learned about that, the more curious I became about agriculture. I do have some family members that had been farmers of strawberries in Watsonville, so did have that in my roots a little bit here in California. Of course, I love food too, so that doesn't hurt when you're getting into ag. And yeah, ultimately decided that I wanted to go for a master's in agribusiness at Cal Poly, specifically on water resource management. From there, I began selling soil moisture sensors, both in research and for agriculture, and finally hooked up with SWIIM.
Awesome. That's really cool to hear more about your background. And, water has been a popular topic on the podcast just for different people, being involved in resource management, having water issues. So we're definitely excited to learn more about SWIIM. So maybe kind of talk us through you joining the company and how you got involved with them.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, my research as a grad student at Cal Poly was focused specifically on, water districts and water trading. And what I learned in doing that is that there isn't really a lot of firm data on how water's moved, especially at a smaller level. And then as I was looking around at some of these new ag tech companies that were coming up, I became really fascinated with SWIIM, because SWIIM, the model for SWIIM essentially is to provide that hard data so that there is information for moving water throughout and allowing farmers maybe to move water to other areas or to other groups without having to fallow their land, and just the importance of having that data and that baseline water history, and realizing that, here's a company that's really going all out to do this. And I just I met Kevin France, the CEO, and just really fell in love with the business and the model and the attitude that the company has in general, and how they treat clients and employees, and just decided that it was the right move for me.
And how long has SWIIM been around, and how many employees do you guys have?
So SWIIM was founded in 2009, originally as doing research in Colorado, where the company was founded on the specific issue of measuring water for water transfer, for short-term water transfer purposes on the Colorado River. Company really started taking off a little before I got there, probably about 2015, 16, when we started doing work in the Imperial Valley. When I joined the company in early 2017, I think there was only maybe a dozen or 15 of us, and now we've grown to about 30. I think we're projecting, and we were hiring some positions now, so should we be getting close to 40 even by the end of 2018.
That's really cool. Awesome to see the growth and kind of the business model validated. Maybe talk to us a little bit about the model and what the value proposition is for the growers and the customers that you have.
Absolutely, yeah. So again, we're a full service company. So our model includes installation and maintenance of all the needed equipment for water monitoring for our clients, or if they already have existing equipment, which of course a lot of farmers in California do, we'll tie into those so we don't need to redo or undo any of the steps already taken for doing that. And the value proposition, I think the really critical part is understanding water usage, having that firm data, not only for the day-to-day operation of knowing how much to irrigate and when to irrigate, but having that baseline water history so that moving forward, as water becomes more of a political issue, or as there's different disputes over water history, we want to make sure that folks working with us have good firm data to show, here's the water that we need to grow our crops. Here's how efficient we're able to be. Here's how our efficiency's improved over the years. And, this is what we need to continue to provide this product on as limited as a resource as possible.
Got it. That makes sense. That's cool. What you're providing to the farmers. Maybe get into a little bit of the foundational tech that you're using to monitor the water.
Sure. Well, we use a variety of types of hardware depending on the region we're working in and the type of water distribution system. So throughout Central California, it's going to be a lot of pressurized systems, and we'll typically use for the purposes of measuring irrigation deliveries some type of flow meter, whether it's a mag meter, prop meter, insertion mag meter, etc. We're a hardware agnostic company, so we can tie in to various types of meters, or we can recommend what we think is going to be the best option given the deployment. In other regions we work in especially in Southern California, on the Colorado River, we'll use ultrasonic water level sensors for measuring flow data. And that'll oftentimes also include us putting in a weir or flume structure, which is also part of our full service water balance for serving those regions. Those, of course, are a little bit bigger projects, but with the amount of flow coming in through the Colorado and those irrigation districts, there's, of course, more and more demand to have really good firm data on that, whereas the historical trend had been just to manually measure that using a yardstick or some other manual method. Now, for crop water consumption, we have a patented ET methodology that uses both weather data, as most folks do for evapotranspiration purposes, and then we also have we use satellite data to calibrate the crop coefficient we're using. We have a patented methodology for how we're doing that to give a good, concise measurement for block by block crop water use at a pretty economical level. We have tied in with soil moistures, and we'll deploy soil moistures for a lot of our clients. That depends a lot on the logistics and, of course, the economics as well. I think soil moisture technology is still something that's advancing a little bit in agriculture, and we'll also use level sensors for measuring surface water runoff in areas where that might be the case. And then, of course, we're using advanced data logging, cellular and radio telemetry systems for communicating that data remotely so that we can collect that remotely and give to our clients via our software program.
I think Tim's head just exploded with the telemetry and coefficients.
Yeah, that's some pretty impressive stuff. A little bit over my head. I'm going to have to do a little bit more research. So Harry, maybe talk to us a little bit about some of the biggest challenges you've faced so far when you're out talking to prospective farmers to partner with. What are some of the obstacles and challenges you face in those conversations?
Sure. Yeah, of course. Well, we're still a young company, definitely still a startup, a development stage company. We have moved forward a good deal, but being new, farmers don't always recognize the name. They don't always know what the value is. When you first talk to them, we do have a handful of clients throughout all of our active regions. Actually, I should say we've kind of grown a lot in both Southern and Central California now. So we have a number of clients in both areas, but they don't always recognize the name. We're not a household name like your crop production services or some of these other big companies that have been around for a long time doing different type of work might be. So I think that can be a little bit of a challenge. But I think we're really overcoming that just because we've been very active at these different events, very active with different groups, Farm Bureau, various water associations in the regions that we serve, to make sure that they understand what we're doing and the importance of what we're doing and how it can be beneficial for multiple parties in the agricultural realm.
For sure. Yeah, definitely attending the trade shows and the events is super critical for getting that critical mass and the momentum around starting the business. Maybe kind of talk to us a little bit about the marketing and what you guys are doing to promote yourself within the industry.
Yeah, well, we try a lot of different things. Word of mouth is so important. So to be honest, one of the most important things to do for marketing is making sure that our existing clients are happy. And I'm not just saying this, that really is our priority. In terms of more digital marketing, we are using social media, put out Twitter, Facebook posts, LinkedIn posts daily, making sure that our name's out there. Try to use that as a platform for education so that folks don't just see us as a company trying to sell, but as a company that is a resource for water information. And a big part of what we're doing is our business partnership with Western growers. We have only the second company to have such a partnership where they actually are promoting us throughout their grower network. And we're also members of the Western Growers Center for Innovation and Technology, which is a hub for startups in Salinas, California.
That's awesome. No, I love the point you made about social media of not just selling, but actually building your brand, being the go-to resource for people interested in water and how to improve their farm when it comes to water technology. So I think that's really cool. So as obviously you're kind of still in the development phase a little bit, like what is the current plan or the focus this year to grow and scale your business?
I'm glad you asked because actually just this week we've made it official. We kind of announced a little while back. You guys might have seen it at the Forbes show. But this week we officially acquired On-Farm Systems, which is a software dashboard for giving real robust water and weather data via their software package. Something that SWIIM hadn't had fully developed yet was that software package specifically. We are able to get reports via all mediums to our clients, usually via PDF reports, but now we have a dashboard they can log into, take the data, look at specific windows of time, look at specific pieces of data together over periods of time, et cetera. So focus is getting that fully integrated, which the guys are working on pretty much around the clock right now to do. And then getting our current clients on board with that and showing the benefits of that to the other folks we're talking with.
That's really cool. Congratulations on that merger with OnFarm.
Thank you.
So kind of as you look at the landscape here in ag tech and a lot of these companies coming up in the technology space, what trend do you find most compelling?
I guess focused on water, just because that's the area, of course, I know. And this is an area that I had some previous experience in. I think the trend of soil moisture sensing specifically is an interesting one to follow. Something that SWIIM does a bit of and a lot of other companies have. My understanding in a broad sense, and there's probably people that would disagree with me on this, is that was a technology that I think got really popular when it first became available. And because of how difficult it is to have meaningful data from that and how much both really soil scientific and agronomic expertise is required for that and all the hardware issues, I think a lot of farmers became a little disenchanted with it. But technology, and especially the communication technology, has just gotten so much better in just the last few years. I'm curious to see how much more that's going to be integrated into what growers are doing. And for us, that's another benefit of bringing on farm. They have a really good dashboard for communicating that data. So it's certainly a space that we're hoping to do a lot more in. And again, being hardware agnostic, we're looking forward to working with both growers and different manufacturers on how to make that something that can really benefit farmers and save a lot of water and do good for the economy.
Yeah, that makes sense. I think there's a lot of areas to be improved in the water space, and it seems like you guys are filling a need for sure. So maybe talk us through a case study of, an example of a farmer that implemented the SWIIM system and how they've been able to make some changes and decisions based on that data. Do you have some examples you could share?
Yeah, absolutely. Probably our first big client down in the Imperial Valley, we deployed on several of his fields with the proposition that, he'd be able to conserve significant amount of water, which in that area, actually, they have incentive programs for conserving water, so you can save some money, substantial money by doing that. And I think like a lot of farmers, the belief was that there wasn't really as much room for improvement. They'd been irrigating deficiently pretty much for a long time, so all the conservation they could have done had already happened, and we motivated him to really get involved with using SWIIM and get involved with trying out different practices for conserving water, and we ended up doing pretty well for him. In fact, we did specifically. We said, hey, if this doesn't work and you don't get the conservation that you need to finance the equipment, then it's on us. We made it contingent upon that, and he ended up doing so well that he wanted to expand and extend for a long time with us, and so that really got us going down there. And it's been a good story as we've gotten into other regions as well.
That's a great story. So kind of, you've been with the company a year and a half now. What have you found most surprising or unexpected since you've joined SWIIM?
So I now work out of the company's Fresno office. When I first started, I actually worked out of our El Centro office, which was definitely a new experience. And I guess what I've personally found the most surprising was the Imperial Valley I ended up really, really liking. And there's, in fact, moments where I kind of wish I was still down there, despite the sweltering heat and, the smaller population than you're going to find on the coast and in major metropolitan areas. It's really good culture down there. I think we're really proud that that's where we kind of, I guess you'd say, sharpened our teeth a little bit, where we really started doing a lot of work. A lot of great coworkers down there, and the farmers are all really great, hardworking people. So I guess the most surprising thing has just been my affinity with working there. And I think it's important both for me and for the company that's where we sort of been our breadbasket, so to say, for the last few years.
Very cool. Yeah, that's exciting to see, where your roots came from and how you're expanding now in more of California. Well, cool. Kind of switching gears here. What advice would you give to a college student who's interested in farming and ag business?
Yeah, absolutely. I really have enjoyed having a lot of opportunity to presenting to college students in the agricultural realm. And what I'd say is understand that agricultural technology is probably one of the biggest growth areas for investment right now. Obviously, there's been a lot of tech investment over the last decade plus. A lot of people working in Silicon Valley, Silicon Beach, et cetera. That's sort of been where a lot of people assume is where a lot of these tech startups are really coming up. But I've talked to folks who work for some of these big VCs, and they've said it's in those areas that maybe drying up a little bit. But in ag tech, it's growing and growing and growing. A lot of investors are really seeing opportunities here, and a lot of farmers are really seeing the benefits of the technology too. So if you're really looking to work in technology, you really pick the right field in agriculture. I think it's the most important industry where new technologies kind of at the cutting edge right now.
Definitely a lot of opportunities coming up, and like you say, an industry that's getting a lot of investment right now. So definitely attractive if you're looking into to get into it. So kind of another fun question. If you were given 50 acres of prime farmland in Fresno and you weren't doing what you're doing right now, what would you do with it?
God, I was working so long in El Centro, I could think of what I'd want to do down there.
You can take El Centro.
Well, El Centro now, I don't know. I was just there last week. I think it was like 50% humidity. If I had 50 acres, I'd probably just, I don't know, rent it or sell it and just retire in San Diego young. No, I'm only kidding.
Not actually, a bad answer.
In El Centro, and I don't know if they've done this in the Central Valley, but I heard from one farmer down there that they did a pilot project on growing quinoa down there. They did that throughout the U.S. I guess they're trying to find, and obviously that's big down in South America, especially Bolivia. But I guess the one place they had a lot of success was in the Imperial Valley. So it might be kind of cool to get into that. I can see that being a niche product that really grows. Or maybe do that on 10 acres and put the rest in alfalfa or sugar beet, something you see a little bit more around there. And then in Fresno, I've heard there's a lot of, I don't know how good the quality is, but I know there's a lot of hop growers that have been coming back around and trying that out. That's obviously a big, kind of a popular crop for some people right now. So maybe give that a stab. Again, maybe hedge that a little with some almonds or pistachios or something a little more standard for that region.
Cool. Those are some good answers. I like the forward thinking of planting a commodity that's not heavily planted in those areas. That's good. So kind of talk to us a little bit about your interests outside of SWIIM System.
Sure. Yeah. I'm what's been nice about coming back to, I guess Fresno is essentially Northern California. Some people call it Southern California. But the one thing that it's always to my heart in San Francisco are the sports teams. So I finally get to follow my Giants and Warriors and 49ers locally on TV. So that's a big hobby of mine. I also play a little bit of sports, although I've shifted more into doing swimming and weightlifting and less competitive stuff. And then music is a really, really big part of my life. I play the guitar and the banjo, actually. And my two younger brothers are I should say all three of my brothers are big musicians. The oldest lives in Singapore, so he didn't get to hang out with us quite as much. But when I get the opportunity to jam with those guys, our two younger brothers had been in bands for a while, so they're a little bit better than I am. So I usually just kind of strum and let them play. But it's always fun to be able to play music with folks. And also I like going to see live music and checking out new artists, especially in the bluegrass space.
Very cool. Tim had a guitar phase for a few years. Were you in a band, Tim?
Yeah, I was in a band in high school. I think we were called My Red Fire Truck. We crushed.
Oh man, I'm sure. Well, very cool. So kind of as we wrap up here, how can listeners get in touch and connect with you and with SWIIM System?
Yeah, absolutely. Our website is SWIIMsystem.com. SWIIM system.com. If you look up SWIIM on any social media, LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, you'll be able to find our company and also see some of the stuff that we've posted. Me personally, my name's Harry Ferdon. You can reach me at hferdon at SWIIMsystem.com. That's HFERDON at SWIIMsystem.com, and love to be in touch with anyone and everyone who's interested.
Awesome. Well, we appreciate the time. Thanks, Harry.
Okay, Tim, Tyler, thanks so much, guys. Really appreciate it. Really enjoy the show, and it's an honor being on.
So, Ty, what do you think?
I thought that was a really fun episode. You know, water is something that just come up on the podcast time and time again, and it's cool to see a startup tackling the challenge of water conservation. And I think it's, just really valuable for any person out there who's thinking about how to solve a problem in ag. Think about what comes up a lot. Obviously, water is a key issue. So I think it's really smart what they're doing and how they're attacking the problem.
Yeah, I agree. I thought it was super applicable. I mean, everyone that we talk to, water affects them some way. Some of the areas that we talk about with robots and the internet and use of technology doesn't necessarily touch everyone, but this is definitely a subject that everybody can grab value from.
Totally. So we really appreciate the time this week, guys. We're always looking to just grow this community and grow the podcast. So be sure to get the word out and connect with us. You can reach either of us on our social media or by reaching out over email. We'd love to hear from you.
Tweet me.